Hello and welcome to Red Sports. Today we have a tiny guest with us. No, not tiny really, but because she has joined and she's a new joinee, the Gen Z. Or are you below Gen Z? Are you Gen Z or below that? So, Jenny?
No, 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 I'm a Gen Z.
So our Gen Z colleague has joined. Of course, Sneha Sheesh has taken a little bit of a New Year break from this one show. He'll be back in the fourth show. So Shojani will fire questions at me and I'll fire questions back at her. We'll just do question. Come on, Shojani, fire.
Okay, so before we begin, as we all know, we saw two matches yesterday. One was between UP and Gujarat, and the second one was between Delhi and Mumbai. But Trishadi, before we get into the technical things, as a fan, there's this one question that is going on in my mind. I mean, 2025 was a big year for us, right? As Indians, it was a big year. We won the 2025 World Cup, and after that, you have covered the Sri Lanka tour as well, and now you're covering the WPL. So, I mean, what do you feel has changed in the terms of the Indian players? I mean, what are the difference that you're seeing? I mean, has the World Cup contributed to their confidence and their body language? I mean, how is it? What is the difference that you're seeing?
More than the World Cup, if I'm being very honest, that is what I wrote in my piece today. I think what WPL has really done is now, someone like an Anushka Sharma, which I've said yesterday as well. The confidence with which Anushka Sharma came out, you wouldn't really realize that this is that WPL. She's playing with Ashley Gardner, and Ashley Gardner is a huge international player, one of the top all-rounders. India before WPL, Indian players, not India, were generally overawed with such occasions. But here that has not happened. Pressure situations are being handled better. So and you're absolutely correct, what has changed is not after the World Cup, but I would actually say it's the other way around. WPL has resulted in the World Cup. Because if you think, Shorjan, it's not the first time that we reached the World Cup final. So the skill set has not changed by millions of degrees or something of that sort. The skill set was there. The mindset and the handling of the pressure situation, that part has changed, and that has been WPL's contribution. Uh, Let me give you another example to explain this. Say, for example, a Prema Rawat standing in the non-striking end watching Nadine de Klerk or talking to her during that innings. And Nadine de Klerk has said this in the post match that I was continuously telling Arundhati, Prema, whoever was coming out to bat, that let's take it to the last ball. So tomorrow, Shorjani, for India, when Prema Rawat is batting in that situation, she is telling herself, let me take it to the last over. That's what I learned in that match. So that learning is what led to the World Cup win. Finals we have reached, but from final to that, crossing the line, handling the pressure, that happened because of WPL, and you can clearly see that.
Definitely, and I think while you were talking about pressure, no, this one example that I would like to cite is that Nandini Sharma yesterday also there was this misfield that she did, and when she came out to bowl also, the first two balls she was hit for a four, and then in the third ball she took a wicket, and then she made that comeback. So that
Exactly.
speaks a lot about their confidence as well. But when we talk about confidence, I mean, in Delhi Capitals, it's a good team. It's a good team. It is a balanced team, and you have someone like Jemima, you have Laura Woolward, you have Shefali Verma, you have Lee, out there as an opener. So I mean, how do you feel that Shefali Verma has to change her approach today in order to get some runs? Because that in a T20 match it is important for the openers
Hmm.
to go out there and give a start. And yesterday, what happened with DC was that none of the players were being able to accelerate. I mean, they
Yeah.
were trying, but the acceleration was not there. So, how do you feel that the approach is going to be different today?
See, first of all, the mindset has to be different. And I thought Shafali had actually mastered that mindset. I was of that idea in the Sri Lanka series because I thought she played beautifully. She mixed caution with aggression. For example, when the off spinner was brought against her in the third T20, if I'm not wrong, she actually defended the first two, three balls, saw where it was going, what's the pace of the ball, and then went after it. Here, I just felt every single DC batter from ball one wanted to had something against the ball itself, wanted to break the ball and do something about it, which was unnecessary because the DY Patil pitch has so much runs in it. that it's unnecessary to do something extraordinary out here. You have to stay in the wicket and not give up. Just keep batting. If Delhi had batted for 20 overs, if Shafali had batted for 7 overs, the match would have been very, very different. So Shafali and Lizzie, I think, also has to have a chat. Who's going to be the aggressor and who's going to take it a little longer? Because you can't have both the openers trying to hit every ball out of the park and getting out. And if you ask me, Lizelle Lee should be the one having that role. That you try to hit every ball out of the park because Shafali can play that longish role. On Lizelle Lee's day, if today is Lizelle Lee's day, then the Delhi setup looks completely different. She'll end up scoring 70, 80 on of some 30, 40 deliveries. She has scored 150 out of 60 or something deliveries. So she has that kind of potential. But Shafali then has to keep batting. She has to take that one or two balls, settle down, and then go, on merit of the ball instead of trying to decide the shot beforehand.
Definitely, and I feel when we're talking about the batters, I mean, Laura Woolward also, I personally, it's just an opinion. I feel that, a little bit of responsibility from her end would also be great because, she's
Absolutely.
the captain of the South African side. So you expect a lot from players like her, especially when, lower on the order, you have Sneha Rana and then, Minu Mani. I think she also was okay. I mean, they did try and, last, Henry did put up a fight. So, see, when we're talking about that, let me go to the bowling unit. The last over, we all know Sri Charni was given the last over. So, I mean, what does that say about the whole captain setup? I mean, to have that kind of trust in Sri Charni, and then, she even got bashed for a lot of runs in the last over. But, I mean, the mindset, what does it talk about? Because she was given the last over. So, I mean, what does it tell about the mindset that Delhi Capitals are trying to follow?
One thing for sure, Sojani, that Jenny has not learned anything from the World Cup. Sri Charani had bowled the last over in the World Cup as well and has got hit for runs. So I think she has to learn from that. I'm so sorry, I got a call. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah. So, as I said, Jemmy was dropped for the match, so maybe she was very upset and she didn't realize what was happening in the middle, but this has happened. And honestly, I was not even shocked. I was disappointed when Churny was given the last over, as much as I was happy when Churny was given the first over after the power play. So there's a lot to learn as far as Jemmy is concerned. I think that's one area that I'll look forward. And again, in that area, Shorjani, I expect a lot more from Laura Woolward. The involvement that I saw from Marizane Cap yesterday is the kind of involvement that I want from Laura Woolward as well. I don't want Laura Woolward to stand in a side and just see, and maybe I'm sure, in the dressing room she's speaking to Jemmy. But also in the ground, Marizane Cap is doing that. She's talking to Jemmy. You will need to talk to her. She's a very young captain. She's being nurtured here. But yes, I think Charlie at that point, with the way Herman was batting, just made no sense. Had it been two overseas batters, I would still understand that you're taking a chance with a spinner. But you have an Indian batter who can play the sweep, who can play spin well. What were you trying to achieve is a question, and that is where I think the captaincy gets tested. Which is why the thumbnail also says Jemima's test.
Definitely. And I mean, even when you were talking about the whole thing, Harmanpreet, when she was having that innings, she was accelerating, and then there was Brunt on the other end who was also playing. But on the other hand, when
Hmm.
DC came out to bat, it looked like a different pitch. As
Yeah.
if the ball, the players were not able to get it right. And I think Henry was still trying her best, and I think she did put out a fight. But on the other hand, she had nobody there to support her. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Because you were there on the ground, you saw everything that was happening, you saw it live, and you could understand what the atmosphere was around. So
Yeah,
do you
because I saw
personally
it
feel
live, it was painful. Yeah. Being a
so do
DC
you
fan.
personally feel that so I mean, what are your thoughts? Do you feel that if Henry had someone there out there on the non-striking end to support
Yeah,
her, would this match have gone in DC's favor?
absolutely. There's no doubt about it. And I said this yesterday also, Shoujani. Nicola Carey's balls weren't unplayable. The balls that Shafali and Laura Woolward got out to, I mean, it would literally make you question their skills. which you and I both know is not the case. It's not like they're not skilled enough. It's just that the application was horrible. I think Laura Woolworth just got stuck in the wicket. People talk about the ball getting stuck. The batter only got stuck in the wicket. She just couldn't get the bat down in time, and there was so much gap between bat and pad that someone like me probably would get inside. So the ball is rather small, so it got hurt. Think of this, had Henry got either of, forget about Laura Boulevard, forget Marisanica. She can bat as well, and she had a bad day with the ball. She should have come up with the goods when it came to batting. And unfortunately, she did not. But had Henry got two partnerships, I think she would have taken Delhi over the line. Yes, 50 runs does look like a lot, but two 20 runs partnership, and suddenly that comes down to 10 runs of say three balls or four balls, and then somebody said something about Delhi Capitals. I did not understand what, but anyway. And then two sixes, and suddenly you are in the driver's seat. And Henry can do that. That massive six of Henry, I still can't forget. I was like, who's sitting in the VIP chair? He's gone. The head of that person is just gone with Henry's ball. But and again, see, that means the pitch was not bad for batting, right? If Henry could hit those shots, the pitch has to be good for batting. So there was no problem with the pitch. I also don't think, and people might not like what I'm going to say, I also don't think that Mumbai bowled outstandingly well. If you look at the shots that Delhi Capital batters played, I think they would have gone back and asked themselves that how stupid we were when we played those shots. What were we thinking? We should recalibrate. And of course, Jemmy's captaincy is one thing, but Jemmy also has to score runs. And I think Jemmy's captaincy will automatically start getting better, but she'll be under immense pressure as a captain if the bat doesn't do the talking. So that part will also be important.
Especially, also, there's another point that I would like to add. When you're following the legacy of someone like Meg Lanning, there is automatically, pressure on you. There is.
Do not follow that legacy. That legacy cannot be followed. She wins World Cup trophies for fun. So we are not even putting that pressure on Jemmy. No, Jemmy, don't follow that legacy. You think of it. Which captain did you replace? Meg Lanning. Okay, that's it. That's it.
No, but we since you are wearing the Delhi Capitals upper, I can see from here. We've spoken a lot about Delhi
Yeah,
Capitals, but let us now let us now go back to Gujarat Giants. Okay, now I vividly remember that we had a chat about Gujarat being heavily over dependent on the overseas players, and we saw it yesterday as well. We saw it. I mean, be
yeah.
it Beth Mooney, be it Sophie Devine, be it Wareham, be it Ashley Gardner, it did depend a lot on overseas players. But again,
Correct.
there was Anushka Sharma as well. But now tell me, there's this one player that you're comparing with four overseas players. So does that make sense? I mean, is that fair? Because yes, Anushka Sharma did go out there and play. But again, you have to realize that there are so many overseas and international stars backing you. And automatically, nobody expected Anushka to go out there and perform. I mean, if you had asked me for a prediction, I would not have thought of Anushka Sharma going out there and giving her best. If you would have asked me to name a few players, I would have named all the international stars. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I think that's a huge problem with Gujarat. And think of it, take Ashleigh Gardner's innings out, none of the rest of the innings would make any sense because Gujarat just won by 10 runs. It's not like they won by 50 runs. So the moment you take out Ashleigh Gardner's innings, the rest of the story is very, very ordinary. And this is exactly what we had spoken about the moment the auction got over. That Gujarat somehow ends up choosing a team which is completely dependent on overseas players. And yes, Anushka scored. But at this age, at this stage, you can't expect Anushka to score every single day, right? So, how many Indian players can you really depend on? With Jastika out, uh, there's a lot of question mark there that what is the other domestic player that we are forgetting to mention is Bharti Fulmani. I think she can hit a few good ones. But apart from these two names, you are not really going to see Gujarat depending on these two, right? So Gujarat is not depending on Anushka or Bharti. These are pluses. They are completely dependent. And you know what is the proof of their dependence? The fact that they chose an out of form Sophie Devine in place of an informed Danny Whitehall. Because they knew that if Sophie Devine does not perform with the bat, she will give you a few overs, so you'll get something out of her. But with Danny, if she by chance does not perform with the bat, you don't have anything else to get from her. And Gujarat is that dependent that Danny White Hodge has been the highest run scorer in WPBL and just won the WPBL trophy, but you still had to keep her out because you wanted to utilize your overseas talent to the max. So that's what that kind of scares me for Gujarat because it they might not work at one point. You might not get them performing. Beth Mooney already the other night did not perform. Uh, Again, their overseas players are excellent ones, but do they perform every single day? Georgia Wareham also can chip in. One thing good is maximum of their overseas players are all rounders. So if you don't get something out of them, you can get the other talent. That's good. Yeah, this happens way too often when you're in the ground.
Yeah, and then there were people waving at the camera as well. I could see, so it was fun.
No, there are a lot of people from the other side also. They wave at the camera. I don't understand why do they think that I'm standing this side and speaking, but my the camera lens would be that side.
No, but
But
Trishadi,
yeah,
like you. No, go ahead, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, go
Sorry.
ahead, go ahead. No, no.
Okay, no, no, no. See, we were talking about a lot of, when we were talking about being overly
Hmm.
dependent on the overseas player. But when I
Hmm.
come to the bowling unit, okay, we have Renuka Singh Thakur, we have Gaikwad,
Yeah.
okay. Now, when I talk about Gaikwad, with all due respect, I admire her as a player. But, I mean, what was her role in the team? Because she was given one over. She was brought in very late.
Yeah.
Very
And
late.
she can't bat.
She took a wicket and then she was not given another over. Her fielding was below average. Below average would also be, I mean, I would be over
Respectful.
exaggerating if I call it, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
if I call it below average. She was not that
Yeah.
great. So, what was her role in the team? What do you feel? Why was she taken? I mean, she did not go out there and bowl also.
And that is what surprises me. When you have an experienced bowler like Rajeshwari, and Rajeshwari cannot bat to save her life. Until unless something has changed overnight that I have no information about, which is very difficult to happen in women's cricket, to be honest. But she cannot bat to save her life. And if that's the case, the only skill that she has is bowling, and you're not even using that. So what exactly do you want? And this is something that RCB also did, Shorzani. I think all the teams, really need to sit down and ask themselves that I have taken 7 options, but who are my regular bowlers? Who are going to be my wicket takers? Because they should at least get 3 overs. How come Rajeshwari ends up getting 1 over? It's so difficult for me to understand that yes, I get it that PB Litchfield is a left-handed batter and PB Litchfield is a very good player of spin. But there were battles before her and after her. You could have used, see, someone like Rajeshwari has played under Mithali and bowled with the new ball. So you can use her with the new ball as well. Someone like Meglan does struggle initially. So you can use her. But you clearly did not. You went for Renuka on one side, Kashmi on the other. You used every single bowler, but there is one player who's playing just as a bowler, and you give her just 1 over. Makes no sense. The other day, what RCB did still is not making any sense to me. Prema Rawat did not get a single over to bowl. In 20 overs, she did not get one single over to bowl. And what is her role then? Prema Rawat is being sent to bat below Arundhati Reddy. So she's batting below अरुंधति रेड्डी शी इज नॉट बॉलिंग अभी सिर्फ फील्डिंग के लिए रखा है तो अभी क्या ही बोलूं.
No, I think someone commented the same about Tanuja Kanwar as well. That
Yeah.
she also did not get a chance to bowl or bat yesterday. But right now the toss is taking place, and as far as I can see, that it's Janima who has won the toss. The
Thank you.
verdict is still not showing, but yeah. So, like I was saying, what are your thoughts on Tanuja Kanwar, Trishadi? Uh, I mean, I personally speaking, as a fan, I have not seen her games that closely, and I've not observed her. So, is there something that you would like to add about her and how she would bring in, you know, the depth to Gujarat Giants?
Tanuja Kanwar, in one of the domestic
Also, I'm very
railways
sorry to
games.
interrupt you, but the update is that DC have won the toss and they've chosen to bowl.
Yeah, I mean, in DY Patil, you're not going to choose to do anything else. There is no way. I mean, you have to be crazy to do that. And especially after losing one game, if you suddenly win the toss and say, नहीं नहीं हम तो पहले बैट करेंगे, people will be like, तुम अभी निकल जाओ कैप्टन से अभी इसी वक्त तुरंत. So understandable, but I'm just hoping that DC does not make a lot of changes to the team because you have to give your playing 11 some time to settle in. So yeah, getting back to Tanuja Kanwar, in one of the domestic games, I was saying the same thing to Sneha Sheesh last year that Tanuja Kanwar is a bit of a this and that player. And when I say that, it's not disrespectfully. I'm saying respectfully. Like you need 2 overs, solid tight 2 overs, you get Tanuja Kanwar. You want somebody to chip in with runs, you get in Tanuja Kanwar to bat. You want a good fielder, you get in Tanuja Kanwar at that point. So Tanuja Kanwar is that sort of a player. But I have always believed that ever since Mithali and Machine for the last 2 years have been out of that Gujarat Giants side, Gujarat Giants have found it very difficult to use the domestic players because it almost seems like there is nobody to guide them about domestic talent. Because not only Mithali and Nushir, the other player that also affected, I thought, was when they let Sneh Rana go. She was a huge bridge between the overseas players and the domestic players. She captains railways, so she knows how it works, how the players work, how the players think. But without that, Chorjan, I think there's a huge gap in Gujarat Giants between the overseas players and the domestic players, which is seen in the ground. That none of the domestic players are being used to their potential. Because, of course, neither is Ashley Gardner nor is Michael Klinger coming and watching domestic games. So they don't know where to use the players, which is what happened to both Rajesh Bari Gaikwad, Tanuja Kanwar.
Okay, so the teams are out, and I would just like to read out the names. So the players for Delhi Capitals today are Chef Ali Verma, Laura Woolward, Jemima Rodriguez, Lizelle Lee, Cap, Nikki Prasad, Henry, Sneh Rana, Minu Mani, Sri Charni, and Nandini Sharma. So I don't think Delhi Capitals have made any
Very
changes
good.
today. They've
Very
not made
good.
any changes. Talking about Gujarat Giants, they have Sophie Devine, Beth Mooney, Ashley Gardner, Georgia Wareham, Anushka Sharma, Kanika Ahuja, Bharti Fulmali, Kashvi Gautam, Tanuja Kanwar, Gaikwad, and Menuka Singh Thakur.
So they have also gone with the same one.
They have gone with the
But
same team.
we were talking about overseas dependence. Can you see another interesting thing? Did you realize that
Oh no, I have not. I
from
did
the
not.
teams? Okay. Uh,
Oh,
if you read the teams, if you read Delhi, it starts with Shafali, then Laura Woolward, then Jemmy, then Lizel. Now go to, and then of course there is Cap, Nikki Prasad, and Henry. But you go to Gujarat Giants and see the first 4 names. It's all overseas players. And they're not even going to come like that in that order.
and three of them are Australian to mention. But
Absolutely.
also when you're talking about Sophie Devine, the thing is, I mean, Sophie Devine was great with the bat, but as a bowler, I mean, she did not have a great day with the ball. I mean, last
Yeah.
over was it was bad. She did take 2 wickets, but she was expensive, and I feel it happens to the best of us. But again, I mean, there
Even
is
with
over
the
dependence.
bat, she did give a brisk start, Shojani, but it's not like Sophie Devine has had a great time with the bat in WBBL as well, which is why I'm still not understanding that why are they not using Danny White Hodge. I'm not saying after one game, of course, you don't want to change after one game. You should have started off with Danny White Hodge. And this over dependence on Australians, and then probably because Australia and New Zealand are close to each other geography wise, that's why they've gone with Sophie Devine in place of England.
No, but even when I was watching the match, I was thinking, what if Gujarat Giants had lost the match? Because Asha, she was really hitting. I mean,
Yeah.
she was really extraordinary,
Think
and
of
that
this,
was
TB and Asha had stayed together for one more over, this match was gone.
match was gone. So I mean, if not Sophie Devine, who would have gone out there and bowled the last over? Because Renuka Singh Thakur, she had already utilized the 4 overs. I mean, who
Renuka
else?
can't bowl death overs for to save her life. So there's no way Renuka was bowling. But
Yeah, give
why
me an
not
example.
use Tanuja Convert? No, no, you can use Tanuja Convert. Has won death overs. This is exactly what I'm saying, Shorjani. The problem is Michael Clinker and Ashley Gardner are not, sitting there and watching how domestic players are playing, right? So they don't even know that they had a Tanuja Convert option. Tanuja has extremely good Yorkers. Tanuja can bowl even the pace variation. Okay, somebody just blew the trumpet on my head. But she has that pace variation as well. So Tanuja is a very good option. Even Rasheshwari Gaivard is not a bad option. You know, all these players, all the spinners especially, and those who have played under, and this is something that I'll keep repeating because there's a sense to it. Those who have played under Mithali, because Mithali had a lot of faith in her spinners, and she used to use her spinners very cunningly. So she would use them in the important overs, in power play overs, the Ekta Vish, the Rajeshwari Gaikwads, the Tanuja Kandas, all of them. They know how to bowl in power plays. They know how to bowl in the death overs. It's just that nobody is using them there.
Definitely.
Hello.
And if I look at the comments, there's someone called Manikanta Suri who has commented
Yeah.
saying that I think DC has to show some faith on Nikki. You have retained her. Maybe she can come in at 3 or 4, and maybe think about the combination. So, what are your thoughts on that?
And Jimmy goes out of the team.
No, I mean they want Nikki to come in at 3 or 4. I mean, is that a possibility?
Where is the place? No, no. Baba, where is the place? You will have Nigelli and Shafali opening. You have to have either Jemmy or Laura Woolward at 3, and you have to have either Jemmy or Laura Woolward at 4, because they can't bat below that. Whereas Nikki, in fact, I have a problem with this comment because Nikki has actually shown that last year also she finished one game for Delhi. So it's not like she can't. But yesterday's target was too heavy for Nikki also to finish. So I think at number 5, 6, Nikki can adjust. There's no problem about it. And eventually, towards the end of this season, Manikanta, we will revisit this comment for sure.
Okay, and the Prince of World 1111 thinks that I think today DC gonna win because of Trishadi t-shirt.
Absolutely, and I had won the T-shirt for that because yesterday somebody, if you remember, yesterday somebody actually told me that because you are wearing RCB jersey, DC lost. So I was like, freak, no.
Okay, Rero 4321 thinks
Yeah.
Gigi has been a good franchisee for uncapped player Indian play, and MI being the poorest. They hardly seem to trust the Indian pacers. They don't let Amanjot finish her overs quota too.
Thankfully, they don't. Otherwise, Amanjot will not hold the ball at all.
No, but I think she was good with the
I
ball,
think it's
wasn't
completely ulta. I think it's completely ulta. I think MI is fantastic. MI yesterday handed over the cap to Triveni Vashish. MI backed G Kamalini, who ended up in the Indian team as well. In fact, think of this. They did not retain Yastika and they put their faith on G Kamalini. Speaks a lot about the MI franchising. As far as GG is concerned, you are seeing what Hero. I can understand your point of view is that so many players, uncapped players, are in the teams. Them being in the team does not help anybody. They have to play their roles. They have to know their roles, and they have to have clarity of the roles, which is what is absolutely lacking in GG right now. Maybe it will improve in the future, but right now I don't see anything.
when if I take Viraj Moore's comment, he says, did DC completely misjudge the captaincy call by choosing Jamima, despite her own admission of pressure when Laura and Cap were obvious stronger alternatives? That is an interesting comment.
भाई एक मैच दे दो इसे इतना जज कर लोगे ठीक है भाई जेमी जेमी विल प्रूव हरसेल्फ जज तो बहुत लोगों ने बहुत कुछ किया था फिर जेमी वर्ल्ड कप सेमीफाइनल जिता दी ना तुम लोगों को सब चुप करवा दिया ना No, Viraj, I think we are too early to judge her. There were a few good calls, a few poor calls. But if you're talking about Laura Boulevard and Marizane Cap being the stronger alternatives, then they are on that same field. They should have backed her as well. So I'm not saying that Jemmy is the bad choice, best choice. I think give her 3, 4 games. We have to see how she improves. If you go back and think of Smriti Mandana's captaincy in the first WPL, you will realize that it was horrible. In fact, forget about WPL. I remember one of the Sri Lanka series where Harmanpreet was injured and Smriti was the T20 captain at that point. She was so bad against Sri Lanka as far as captaincy is concerned that I was like, what's wrong with Smriti? I have seen her captain Maharashtra. I have seen her captain the state side. I have seen her captain West Zone. She's not this bad. Why is she this bad? So it takes a little time to, settle in when it comes to international level or the franchisee level. Give Jemmy a little time. Give her the first season in itself, because this is not IPL. IPL first season means 14 games. Here, WPL first season means just 8 games. Sounds short, but come on, it's a transition. If you say that a player from one team to another, when they transition, they need a few matches. The captain will also need a few matches. Like for example, yesterday I remember Snehashi texted me about Jemmy that Jemmy is so excited that it almost seems like she's controlling that excitement. Happened. The first time I had captained the team, I remember, I could not sleep. I was thinking, what do I do if the coin hits my face, when I'm trying to toss? Or what if I call something and something doesn't fall? And it was just coin toss that I was thinking about when there is so much to think about as a captain. Then I was thinking I was an aggressive player, so I was like, do I scream? Do I not scream? What do I tell? What happened? So when you're the captain for the first time, there's so much going on in your head. You have to lead by example. You have to jump around. You have to think 2 hours, ahead. It is not easy. Give her some time; she'll definitely settle in.
Definitely. There's a fun story that I would like to share. I mean, completely
Yeah.
unrelated, but the first time I was a captain and I went out to go for the toss, I won the toss and I forgot the call that I was going to make. So I looked at my coach and I started screaming, "What should I do? What should I do?"
No,
It
it has
was fun.
happened. I have said something completely different. I have been like, yeah, we'll bowl for, and I was a bowler. So the moment I see something, I'm like, I want to bowl first. I want the toss, and I come back, and the coach looks at me and said, "Didn't we talk about batting first?" I was like, okay, sure, maybe next game. And I remember I was like, maybe next game. And she was like, sorry, what?
Okay, coming back to the comments, Ushnik
Yeah.
Chakraborty, I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. He says that end of first set,
Yeah.
Gigi is
Hi.
Gigi.
Somebody just said red sports I watch.
Okay, so when we come back to Ushnik Chakraborty's comment again, once again, I'm very sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. He says that end
No,
of
no, it's
first
just
set, Gigi is
regular
actually
viewer.
Gigi finds their current 11, playing 11. DC have to find a way to fit either King or Hamilton. Absence of Sutherland completely shook their middle over bowling.
Either king or
Hamilton.
no,
That is
yeah. Yeah, no, no, no. You pronounced it correct, Lucy Hamilton. But no, Ushnik, I think DC has got their playing 11 correct. I don't think that Alana King in DY Patil would be a good option. Maybe Baroda, but not here for sure because Alana King won't be able to grip the ball that well, and in DY Patil she's going to get hit right, left, and center. No, not here. In Baroda, I would still feel that Alana King might get a chance. I completely agree with the last point that you said. Absence of Sutherland is going to hurt DC's bowling big way. But I don't know if you saw the match last night. If you saw the game last night, but I thought Nandini Sharma was excellent. In fact, yes, there were some extremely loose deliveries. But what's hurting DC the most, Ushni, is the fact that Marizane Cat has not fired as a bowler, which is what I thought hurt South Africa also in the World Cup final. Um, did not complain much because we won the World Cup final. But in general, if Marizane Cap as a bowler does not fire for DC, as an all-rounder does not fire for DC, then missing out on Sutherland is going to haunt them absolutely. And I don't think Hamilton is the answer.
okay. We have another interesting comment from Anjali. She says, "Hi Trishadi, do you think Jemmy does not set the field right in the last 4 overs when Herman had 4 boundaries?"
Last 4 overs. No, I did not think the last 4 overs were that bad. I just thought the last. I was more critical of her bowling changes. Field changes, I was not that critical of. But I think Marizani Cap was pretty critical of one of her fielding changes. After the over, she came and said, "Where did my fielder go?" So I think that was there. But that will happen, yeah. Young captain. I did think the bowling changes were um, no, it is not more bad or anything of that sort, but I thought, yeah, it needs to improve. The bowling changes need to improve a lot more when it comes to Jemmy. I think she'll settle down today. Yesterday was her first day as captain. Will be more settled, more calm, and we'll see. What happened yesterday? I felt she was trying to make a statement, and this is something I told Sneashish as well. Generally, Jemmy on the field is very relaxed, calm, thinking, and jumping around at the same time. But yesterday it almost felt like she was trying to keep her face straight and not joke or not mingle much because I'm the captain and I have to keep that. Happens. It happens. You're trying to be the captain. You're trying to understand that in a team where there are so many superstars and you're actually one of the youngsters, you have to lead the team. How can I portray myself as the captain? I should not lose that feel, that captaincy. People should not think that I am being ruled by somebody else. So there are so many things that people need to handle that I thought somewhere Jemmy got a little carried away, but I'm sure she'll be calmer today and you will see her taking better decisions.
Bhanumati Bandhu over here says, are teams overvaluing all rounders in the middle overs at the cost of specialist finishers? Sorry.
But T20 format is like that, Bhanumati. I think in T20 format, for certain coaches, even the test format is like that, apparently. All rounders are playing. But mainly, I think that's how T20s work. You cannot really have a player doing one role because, again, you want to utilize your resources to the max point. So I think all rounders work more when it comes to T20s.
Mohit over here says that will people come to watch in Vadodara? It's not even a regular cricketing audience. Perry is playing Super Smash but isn't coming for WPL. Why?
Okay, let's take one question at a time. Will people come to watch in Vadodara or not? In a week's time, I will be able to answer that question. My gut feeling, no. It will take a little time. It took time for every city to warm up. It will take time for Vadodara also to warm up. Um, the second question about ferry. First of all, I think traveling to New Zealand from Australia is easier. Secondly, last year has been super hectic. She had informed the team about this even before the auction. So it was between RCB and Perry. If she wants a break for personal reasons, I think we should be able to respect that as much as we expect WBBL franchisees to respect when a Smriti doesn't turn up, when you have to understand that when in the 100, Jemima said, "You know what? I can't turn up because I have to be with my friend." A superb move by Jemima. I'm not criticizing that move. But had the 100, the team not respected that, we would have criticized it. I would have criticized it. You would have criticized it. Here, we are not able to respect that. So, if we expect our players and their personal space, their mental health to be respected, we have to do the same for overseas players too. We can't question anyone's commitment on that basis. What I feel is, had the World Cup been in India, she would have still traveled for WPL to get accustomed. But because the World Cup is in English conditions, she's playing the Super Smash and going to go home and take some rest before the Australia tour. Sorry, not Australia tour, before India's tour to Australia.
A lot of comments about Jemmy and her captaincy. Oh my god. Now Bhanumati again is asking, is Jemmy's
Hmm.
timing of spin versus pace overs reflecting game awareness or pre-planned strategy?
I found it pre-planned. And that happens, when you are the captain for the first time, you are a little confused whether I go by what has been said. Eventually, a captain learns to use their gut. So I think this has happened to Shorjani, it happened to me, it has happened to everybody who has played you know, you are told a certain thing in the team meeting, and that will happen. You know, when you're the captain for the first time, you do not have confidence in your guts as such to say, you know what, I'll change what I've been told. I'll completely go against the drawing board and bring somebody in. That took time. And trust me when I say this, for MSG also it took time. For Saurabh also it took time. For Mithali also it took time. For everybody it took time, and it eventually happened in a few matches. I think we are being overcritical of Jemmy. Could be because we expected too much. It happens. And it's good that we have such high expectations from Jemmy. And I can tell you, Jemmy herself knows that there is a lot of expectations from her, and I'm sure she enjoys that. But at the same time, give the girl a little time to settle in the roles.
After some slack, that is all that you're trying to
Yeah,
say.
yeah, exactly.
Kavya Jain is asking Trisha Di, can't G Trisha take place of Harleen Deol in UP's playing 11?
Should, absolutely should. I was shocked that she was not in the team yesterday. But having said that, I think Harleen will get 2 or 3 more games. And then eventually, if she does not perform, I'm sure Trisha will make it.
Yes, and this is a conversation we were having in the post-match show yesterday as well. I mean, the specialization of Harleen Deol. I mean, what was her role in the team? That was a very big question mark as viewers, as analysts. I mean, we could not understand what was expected out of her. Was she out there as an anchor, or was she out there as a
Yeah,
power hitter? What was exactly expected from her?
yeah.
The match will begin in 7 minutes, so we'll take a few more questions. Okay. Hi Trishadi, do you think Jemmy does not set the field correctly? Anjali is asking.
I did not think so. Marizane Cap did think so. So I will go with Marizane Cap only on the basis of her experience. She's more experienced than me, so I'll go with her. But no, I did not see a lot of problem with her field setting, but I did think that as I'm repeating, myself by now, that I did think bowling changes were the bigger problem than field setting because none of the bowlers other than Nandini Sharma are kids here. So, the field setting could have been changed. A Marizane cap, are you telling me that if Marizane cap says, I want my square leg and I want my the deep mid wicket, suddenly Jemmy will come and say, no, I will not give you square leg and deep mid wicket. That is not happening for sure, right? So even for Churni, for example, Churni by now has played so many matches. It's not like Churni can't set her field. So I don't think field is a huge problem. The other good thing that I saw about Jemmy's captaincy was it was not reactive. She wasn't proactive either, but she was not reactive. So she'll get better. Give her 1 or 2 games. I kind of have that positive feeling that after this match we will talk about her already improving after the first game.
Okay, so now before we take your leave, this is last question that we are taking where Manikanta Suri is asking when you are expecting home and away matches in WPL.
2028.
Do you think there will be more teams, Trishadi?
Yeah, I do think so. I think there will be at least 2 more teams very soon.
By when
A
are you
lot of
expecting?
again 2028 because see why am I saying 2028? This circle is till 2027. So this mega auction goes till 2027. Whatever you have to change will be after that. So 2028 is what I'm expecting. At least 2 more teams to be added and a home and away.
Okay, so now before we take your leave and we get into the WPL match, I would like to mention that Virat Kohli has scored a half century and Shubman Gill is batting on 46. So it's a very busy day for the sports journalists as well as the cricket lovers because we have so many cricket matches lined up. But thank you so much for watching today's live show, and we will be back in the post-match live with all the updates. And Trishadi is out there, in Navi Mumbai, covering the match from the ground, and she will be back with more insights. And thank you so much for watching.